And we continue at 1:06 in the afternoon, the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
John, Assemblywoman Lisa Calderon just introduced a bill that is going to screw over any owner of rooftop solar in the name of equity because poor people can't afford solar. So let's jack up the bills on people that bought rooftop solar 20 years ago.
This is about fairness and equity, nothing more.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, and you have a computer in front of you. But wasn't her job before she was elected to the legislature as an executive at Southern California Edison?
Oh, wouldn't that be interesting? Let's see. She was a legislative aide for Willie Brown. It doesn't say what she did before she got... Oh, yeah, here we go. She worked as the government affairs director from Edison International from 1996 to 2020. Holy cow, you are right, my friend.
There you go. When you read the newspaper enough, you remember certain things.
How many Calderons have been in the assembly?
Oh, God, they multiply. 2 of them went to prison, but I think they're out.
So a former member of Edison decides to run for office, and the first bill that she puts in forth, what does it do? It screws over anybody who got solar so we can increase the profits for SoCal Edison and PG&E.
Seems about right.
All, of course, in the name of equity.
This is about fairness and equity, nothing more.
But I'm sure she's looking out for the people of Whittier and not for Southern California Edison.
Sure.
All right. Right now it's time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And the first edition takes us to Altadena.
So Altadena was destroyed in those horrific fires back in January. And one thing that's been happening ever since those fires is all the homes that didn't get burned down, they're getting burglarized left and right from the worst of the worst.
Well, I would assume that many of the homes that didn't burn down have severe smoke damage or there's damage done to the water system. So they're probably, many of them are vacant.
Let's see what's going on here. Here is KTLA.
Months after the devastating Eaton fire, residents in the Altadena area say their neighborhood is still plagued by burglaries.
Many feel terrorized by opportunistic criminals that keep targeting homes that survived the blaze. And now they are calling for more security. KTLA's Jennifer McGraw has details from Altadena.
During the day, it's busy out here. Plenty of people, work trucks, but it's at night and before the sunrise that these homes are most at risk. Amidst ultimate destruction and devastation from the Eaton fire, homes are still standing across Altadena and Pasadena. Homes that had been threatened by raging fire, toxic waste, and the ultimate crime of looters taking advantage of countless victims.
I like how looters get the third billing there.
In the Old West, they used to be real tough on looters.
They stole generator, personal items, items that are worth money, collector's items, things that I can't.
Why isn't she being specific about that?
Wait, what are you alleging?
I'm just wondering what the collector's item is. That's it.
Oh, so you think it might be something spicy.
I mean, if it was like an old baseball card, you would say it's a baseball card. If it's an old Lego toy, you'd say it's a Lego toy. Just saying a collector's item, I'm not alleging anything, and this is a victim of a crime. I just want to know why she's being vague.
So you think it could be something like antique cookie jars or something?
Maybe.
Items that are worth money, collector's items, things that I can't replace.
Natalie LaFerche has lived here her whole life and now raising her family. With too much damage to the roof, they've had to relocate, and now just the latest victims.
Oh, I feel violated. My personal information was stolen. They immediately started draining my account, and that's when I lost it because, that's all we have left.
The sheriff's...
So you've got burglars going around a neighborhood that has been completely flattened. The houses that still exist are not livable, but anything that's in the house is ripe for the picking.
And then you steal their identity?
We have the worst people. It's stories like this when I listen to them on the freeway and I'm stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic that all I can think about is leaving.
If you're a burglar, not that this matters at all because morality is certainly not at the top of their priority list, but you look at a woman like this with children who was displaced due to a fire, probably living with a relative or in a hotel, and their home is abandoned at night because they can't live there due to the smoke damage. And you say to yourself, this person, they've had nothing but green lights in their life. Why don't I steal her identity too?
The Sheriff's Department says there have been more than 140 burglaries in Altadena alone.
It's only been 3 months.
That's totally ridiculous.
The Sheriff's Department says there have been more than 140 burglaries in Altadena alone.
And Robert Luna says if you feel scared that someone's going to break into your home,
I need you to not feel that way.
Okay, say it to that lady.
Everything from people's belongings to potteries to plants.
At the same time, the same thing is not happening in the Palisades burn scar. The number of burglaries there are not surging anymore, according to LAPD.
That's interesting.
And that's in the city of Los Angeles, where the LAPD is notoriously understaffed. Altadena is not in the city of Los Angeles, so you would assume that the services that they get would be better.
Not so much.
Why is not Altadena not being protected like other groups have been, right? At this moment, you can't even get into Palisades unless you're escorted in, right? Why is that not our community?
There's still controlled access to get in and out of the Palisades, but apparently anybody can be driving through Altadena, whether they're there to clear debris, rebuild a home, or steal everyone's belongings.
Ooh, that's going to be problematic.
Brandon Lamar is with the Passion Project that focuses on recovery efforts and also the president of the Pasadena NAACP.
Why are not we doing more than what we're actually doing to make sure our community homes are safe?
Supervisor Catherine Barger also addressing.
Or Barger.
It's a hard G, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Supervisor Catherine Barger also addressing this issue.
They've got National Guard, and it's not appropriate. And I think there are those who would argue that even having the National Guard up there at this point is overkill. But you know what? If it keeps the community safe, who am I to judge? Because at the end of the day, we've got sheriffs up here. I'd rather give additional resources to the Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, but the sheriffs are not doing a good job if there's been 100 burglaries there.
Yeah, that's not insignificant.
And the deputies are trying to do their best, but their leader is fairly inept.
Because at the end of the day, we want to hold people accountable.
And they're constantly being told by the county to not arrest people.
The county in many ways is just as bad as the city now, which is funny because the county used to be head and shoulders better than the city of Los Angeles. Now they're just as bad.
Well, and it depends if you're in an incorporated city like Pasadena, where you have your own government, you have your own police department. Altadena is not an incorporated city. So Altadena is directly an L.A. County victim.
Yeah, that's a tough place to be.
To do more patrol.
The Sheriff's Department is also offering home checks. You can sign up for that on their website. I also spoke with plenty of homeowners who have band together to hire private security, but they say that's just not affordable anymore. In Altadena,
you shouldn't have to hire your own guards when the county failed to protect your home multiple times over and over and over again.
But the county has told the sheriff to back off. They don't want to fill up the jails. They don't want to arrest a bunch of people. They want them to look the other way like they're pro wrestling referees.
In Altadena, Jennifer McGraw, KTLA 5 News.
So there you go. The big spike in burglaries in the neighborhood that was destroyed by the Eaton fire.
Okay, so that's what's going on in Altadena. Randy, it's time to reopen the blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
This edition takes us to the MTA.
You remember how yesterday we played you that sound of Janice Hahn complaining that the news media does too many stories about crime anywhere near a metro station or a metro bus?
Oh, yes.
I love the bus driver.
Well, what do you know? Less than 12 hours later, story comes out of a sexual assault suspect still on the loose that committed that assault on a Metro bus.
Sorry, Janice.
For more, here's KTLA.
Authorities are on the hunt for a suspect after he threatened a woman with a knife and then sexually assaulted her.
The assault happened.
It's funny, too. This happened on the same day that Janice Hahn was doing all the local news channels and talking about increased security measures because she's got these weapons detectors at Metro rail stations in places like Norwalk and Union Station. How exactly are you going to do that for a network of buses?
If she knew what the word irony meant, she'd be thrown through a loop.
I love the bus driver.
Her.
The assault happened on a Metro bus with other riders unaware of what was happening. Sarah Welch is in Vermont Square with the latest details and reaction to a scary situation. Sarah.
Micah's here. Good evening. Yeah, it was terrifying. And yes, there were a lot of commuters on the bus when this happened earlier this month. And detectives don't believe that they knew what was happening in the moment. And tonight, detectives are releasing the suspect's picture, hoping someone might recognize him and turn him in.
Good luck with that.
Anytime there's a story with a dateline in L.A. County, the last line of the story is always, and the suspects are still at large.
This is a photo of the suspect, the man accused of sexually assaulting a woman on a Metro bus.
We believe the public can offer help if someone knows who this person is.
LAPD says the suspect, wearing a Qatar Airways T-shirt.
That's pretty identifiable.
Yeah, no kidding.
Qatar Airways T-shirt boarded a Metro bus at Sunset and Vermont.
He boarded his...
Also, not super relevant, but who wears a T-shirt for any airline?
Especially a foreign airline that has extremely limited service out of LAX.
Feels like this guy should be fairly identifiable.
I think I told you, I was working as a writer over at KNX right after 9/11. And the country that was referenced in this news piece has two pronunciations. Some people call it Qatar, and some people call it Qatar. And at the time, we had an affiliation with CBS News, and the official CBS News pronunciation for the country was Qatar. And we would have to write pronouncers in each of the scripts so the anchors would pronounce it correctly. And you write the pronouncer Cutter. And I remember thinking, is this a country or a depressed teenage girl?
Boarded a Metro bus at Sunset and Vermont.
He boarded his bus. He went to the back of the bus, had a seat.
10 minutes later, the 33-year-old victim on her way home from work got on the bus and sat 3 seats in front of him.
There were a lot of commuters on the bus as the route continued going towards the end of its last stop.
During the ride, the suspect got up and sat next to the victim. He began speaking to her and then pulled a knife and demanded cash.
Holy cow.
Not exactly subtle.
Cash.
Once she didn't have any money, he then assaulted her. She didn't scream due to the knife being there, and he told her not to scream, to just follow.
So there are several people on the bus while this is happening. Everyone is so either just focusing on themselves or completely desensitized that a woman is getting assaulted at knife point right next to them, and none of them notice or do a damn thing.
When you're on a bus or a train or any kind of public transportation where homeless people are on there or crazy people are on there, you just try to not make eye contact with anyone. You try to focus on your phone. You put your headphones on. You do whatever. You're trying not to get on anyone's radar because you don't be the one that want to be the one that has the knife pulled on you.
She didn't scream due to the knife being there, and he told her not to scream, to just follow along with what it was that he was telling her to do.
Detectives say it went on for 2 minutes until the bus pulled up to its last stop at MLK and Figueroa.
He got up and went back to the back of the bus to retrieve his backpack.
The door opened, she ran out and got help, and he exited and fled toward 40th Place.
Wow, this lady was expecting to get home safe, but now she can't get home safe because of what happened to her.
These Metro...
Just another day on the bus.
But Janice Hahn says we need to spend more time talking about positive stories and not report on this.
I love the bus driver.
These Metro riders told us on the bus, they're always looking over their shoulder.
You don't know what to expect in the bus because there's a lot of randoms in there.
There's a lot of randoms?
That's her trying to politely describe crazy homeless people on meth.
You don't know what to expect in the bus because there's a lot of randoms in there. I'm always riding with the friends and I don't ride alone because sometimes you don't never know what can happen in the bus.
All of these people are potential victims every single day because they're forced to use Los Angeles' public transit system.
Poor people are the ones that have to use the bus and the trains because they don't have any other options. And the fact that the county won't ensure their safety on these buses is basically the county saying that they're leading the lambs to slaughter.
And I know it's funny. Janice Hahn got a rounding applause at the last Metro board meeting from other members of the board because Janice Hahn makes a point of riding the bus. She rides once a week during the day from San Pedro to downtown L.A. Janice Hahn, if you really want to see what's going on in L.A. Metro, get on the Figueroa line at midnight.
And I think she's on there with staff members, too. She's not there by herself. She's an older lady.
No, of course not. She's got security.
Detectives also have video of the suspect on a Metro train, and they're concerned he may have done this before and could do it again.
Well, of course.
Yeah, you think?
We're also reaching out just in case we have any other victims out here who have been victimized by this suspect.
If you've been assaulted by a guy in a Qatar Airways shirt, well, LAPD would like to talk to you.
If that's what the guy in the Qatar Airways shirt's doing, what's the guy in the Spirit Airlines shirt doing?
And this latest attack comes as LA Metro, city, and county officials work to try to improve public safety on...
It's really very poignant that she's saying that while a siren is blaring in the background.
Yeah, I guess we know where the news at 11 is going to be.
Transportation. Detectives think the suspect is between late teens, early 20s. If you want another look, you can go to KTLA.com. And if you can help with this investigation, you can contact LAPD anonymously at 1-800-222-TIPS. Sharon Michael will send it back to you.
There you go. Sexual assault suspect who pulled a knife on a woman on a crowded bus, got away with it, and is on the loose to do it again.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we've hit the halfway point of today's show, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe, and you can download all the episodes, listen to all of our shows from yesterday, and try to figure out the context for this drop.
And, people have kids here, and we don't want to, see that nasty stuff.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
790 KABC welcomes Brian Adams with special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Girardo at the Kia Forum on November 18th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-2222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing.
Last week, we told you that the police chief in Oakland claims that crime is down in any number of categories in that city. We took an hour of calls and no one believes him, but that's what he says. Well, Randy, across the bay in San Francisco, that city is claiming that crime is in free fall there too.
And there's a lot of success being reported on a lot of very interesting programs, including a drop in crime in the Tenderloin being credited to a neighborhood-wide curfew that went into effect last July. For more on that, we go to ABC 7 in the Bay Area.
San Francisco's Tenderloin district, known as a hotspot for open drug use, is seeing a decrease in crime.
And just recently, they busted up a whole bunch of businesses in the Tenderloin that were just fronts for illegal gambling, drug dealing, and prostitution.
But when you gamble there, you don't get your valuable player points that you do at MLive.
This comes 9 months after the city imposed a curfew that mandates a majority of businesses must close from midnight to 5 a.m.
ABC 7 News reporter Luz Pena went to the neighborhood. And Luz, now the city is getting requests from neighboring areas asking for this program to be expanded.
Yes, Dan, data from the San Francisco Police Department shows the curfew program in the Tenderloin is working. The curfew was adopted in July of last year, making it mandatory for corner stores and businesses to close from midnight to 5 a.m.
The thought being, well, if the corner stores aren't open, there's nowhere for the drug dealers to buy Cheetos at midnight, so they'll go somewhere else.
Is that what they're into?
Maybe they're into something else.
If they don't, they can get fined. The goal was to see if by implementing this curfew, crime would go down. And the initial data is promising. It's been 9 months, and these photos are the first set of visual evidence of improvement since the Tenderloin curfew was implemented. On the left, June of 2024. On the right, March of 2025. These images show a decrease of people congregating along the 20-square block area where the curfew has been in effect.
Now, there could be a lot of factors that are leading to that, including that the new mayor, Daniel Lurie, has told SFPD, start arresting all the people you see doing drugs.
And Proposition 36, because in San Francisco, they can charge them with Prop 36 crimes too.
My recommendation would be to absolutely keep it going.
During the last...
Everyone, you've got to realize how often you're saying that word. It's a sickness.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Did I tell you I had a dream about her last night?
I don't even want to know about that.
We were doing some kind of live broadcast at like some Radio Row. And Shang looks at us, waves, and then mockingly says to us,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, I thought you were going to take that in a different direction.
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
I don't have those kind of dreams about Shang, but I do have dreams about Shang drops.
Okay, that's fit for air.
My recommendation would be to absolutely keep it going.
During the last San Francisco Supervisor's Public Safety and Neighborhood Services Committee, SFPD Commander Derek Liu said the improvement is also data-driven, pointing to the total number of calls for service in the Tenderloin, decreasing by nearly 18% during this curfew.
That's a lot less people calling for help because they can't open their front door because there's someone doing the fentanyl fold in front of it.
If true, 18% would be significant.
And the total number of crimes decreasing by 13% in the same time frame. We went to the Tenderloin to speak to people here who said the change started 4 to 5 months into the curfew. What's the difference that you're noticing now?
You see less people. Users, sellers, you don't have as many people laying on the sidewalk.
Greg Johnson.
That was just a normal thing a few years ago.
And believe me, as someone whose hotel was right in that area, I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Greg Johnson has lived in the Tenderloin for 8 years and says people can sleep now, but he has noticed a spillover effect.
We're still pushing people around. Around the blocks.
Yeah, all the drug people went to the Soma area and the Mission.
Great.
But now if they implement that there, then they'll have nowhere to go.
They'll go to Oakland eventually.
SFPD acknowledges this.
What if Oakland just becomes the dumping ground for the entire Bay Area's problems?
Well, it's about to, because all the other cities are starting to get tough on crime except for Oakland.
SFPD acknowledges this.
It's a little bit part of the strategy just because we don't have the resources to blanket an entire city.
The Tenderloin Housing Clinic pushed for this curfew and said it's slowly changing the district.
Still some challenges. This is a work in progress, I think, but a lot of the streets are looking a lot cleaner.
The majority of businesses, with the exception of liquor stores, have to close by midnight.
Liquor stores got a cutout, huh?
Midnight. But if we increase the last call time from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., then the bars where you can have a drink poured for you will be able to stay open until 4 because San Francisco was part of that.
It's a weird world that we're living in right now.
Some see it as unfair.
Although that's because Matt Haney, former supervisor of San Francisco, current assemblyman, is the #1 party boy in the state of California.
Some see it as unfair.
Probably impacting the ability to extend hours and have more flow of cash.
Despite this, Supervisor Matt Dorsey.
How many legitimate businesses are collecting just a whole lot of revenue after midnight outside of bars?
Usually there's nothing good going on that late.
Even bars, they'll tell you their most lucrative hours are 10 p.m. to midnight. The people that are still at the bar at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., they're only causing trouble.
I'll tell you, I started going to bed early when I started working morning drive. And I've pretty much just gone to bed early ever since then. And I don't feel like I'm missing a thing.
Flow of cash.
Despite this, Supervisor Matt Dorsey said residents in nearby Soma want to see this curfew extended into their district.
They would like to see this expanded into the south of Market and especially the 6th Street corridor.
This is one of the more common sense guys on the Board of Supervisors right now. He actually is putting forth legislation for, instead of housing first in San Francisco, recovery first.
Good.
There are some businesses that I think probably should be accepted because there are some restaurants that stay open that I think serve the neighborhood but aren't creating a public nuisance.
And this is a 2-year pilot program. And for every hour a store remains open during the curfew hours, the city can fine them up to $1,000. In the last 9 months, there have been 4 repeat violations. Following this data, there is...
Who decided we're going to stay open?
That's a good question.
Might have been that place that was a front for the gambling.
Following this data, there is a chance this curfew could be expanded to other parts of the city. So we'll see what happens here. In the newsroom, Luz Peña, ABC 7 News.
All right.
So there you go. In the Tenderloin, a notable drop in crime. Could it be related to the curfew? It's definitely possible.
Now, what about the park?
Well, that's even more interesting because Daniel Lurie has decided to go after these big open-air drug dens. And one of them at Jefferson Park was so bad, people started calling it Zombie Park. Well, after a big raid where they arrested everybody there, the park is actually usable again.
It's been 2 months.
Here's Cron 4.
It's been 2 months since a raid at San Francisco's Jefferson Square Park ended with dozens of arrests.
Our neighbors held a party at the park to celebrate the positive changes they've seen since the crackdown. Cron 4's Sarah Stinson has the story.
You know it's better if people who live there can actually use the park.
I love that it makes the news that the people who pay for the park actually get to use it for legal activities.
Cherry blossom trees often represent new beginnings. And that's what people say it feels like at Jefferson Square Park in San Francisco after police cracked down on overnight drug use in February.
Has the park improved? Definitely. I feel it's night and day.
Prior to the raid, the park was becoming an open-air drug market at night, but dozens of arrests seem to have put a stop to it.
It's amazing how that works.
You notice, by the way, how in San Francisco they're going around and arresting everyone for breaking the law in the parks, and now the park is usable. But in MacArthur Park, all the fake doctor and Hugo Soto Martinez and all the rest of them, Ulysses Hernandez, want to do is pass out Narcan.
Yes, it's a wild difference. San Francisco is Los Angeles 2 years from now. Maybe, if we get our stuff together, because every stupid thing that we do down here and double down on, San Francisco already did and is reversing course on it.
It's definitely improved. So, big shout out to the city, Mayor Daniel Lurie, everyone that worked on this.
Renee Colorado, the executive director of the Tenderloin Merchants Association, helped plan a park party to celebrate the drastic improvement. It started with a park cleanup and ended with a cake picnic. Supervisor Bilal Mahmoud helped plant...
Oh, not this jackass.
Oh, this is the one that wants to put homeless shelters in every district in the city.
Yes.
Supervisor Bilal Mahmoud helped plant cherry blossom trees. He says the multi-agency raid was in response to complaints from people in the neighborhood.
Don't you take credit for that, Mahmoud. That was Lurie.
Not you.
And it's had a lasting effect.
A really difficult operation that required so many different departments that don't normally talk to each other to work together. And
yeah, that's a bunch of nonsense. It was the police taking the handcuffs, getting the handcuffs off of them from the new mayor. That's what changed.
It's broken windows theory back in San Francisco.
And probably nowhere else in the city has a location that used to be an open-air drug market been completely cleared out ever since.
To continue deterring drug activity, park rangers patrol every day, and lights have been installed at the park. Colorado says this success gives him hope that other parts of the city can be cleaned up too.
This is proof that no matter how bad things get, there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
If you have the political will for it.
Yes, you can fix our problems if you want to. You just have to have the spine to do it.
And if we keep working and we're diligent, we can have improved conditions, and we can do it in a very compassionate way, and we can have open spaces for everyone.
I'm Sarah Stinson reporting in San Francisco, KRON 4 News.
I don't know when it became such a radical idea that open-air drug markets are unacceptable, but in San Francisco, they're finally saying that they're unacceptable, and they're clearing them out, and it's making a noticeable difference.
Good for them. So the city says that crime is going down. The parks are apparently usable for residents again. So all of this leads to the question, okay, if things are starting to get better, are the businesses feeling that? When we return, we'll explore that topic. So the city of San Francisco says crime is getting better, the parks are being cleaned up, but the question is, are the businesses feeling it yet?
Well, if you go to Union Square, even though there's all that excitement about that Nintendo store opening, there is now yet another major closure. Burke Williams is going out of business.
Well, then where are you supposed to get cucumbers to put on your eyes?
For more, here's KRON 4.
New at 5, yet another long-time Union Square business is leaving the neighborhood. After 20 years, Burke Williams Day Spa is closing its Union Square location at the end of the day today, citing security.
What if you had an appointment for tomorrow?
Canceled.
Security concerns. KRON 4's Stephanie Rothman reports.
The San Francisco shopping center is losing another tenant. On the 5th floor, Burke Williams Day Spa offers massages, facials, and a variety of spa services. Employees say they've been busy with clients getting their last appointments in, but shoppers say the closure is disappointing.
Hearing that something else is closing in the mall is kind of like devastating.
Yeah, the one place you do not feel like San Francisco is bouncing back is any of the malls in San Francisco.
No, and if you're one of the remaining businesses who's still there, it's got to be awkward to be in a great big empty mall and to be the last man standing.
Because the mall used to be such a place where people can go and hang out and spend time at, but there's not really much left.
In a letter on February 13th, the owner of Burke Williams, a Bay Area native, said, quote, "We witnessed rampant deterioration in..."
Wait, the owner of Burke Williams is actually a guy named Burke Williams? Huh, that's great.
Williams, a Bay Area native, said, quote, "We witnessed rampant deterioration in safety in the surrounding area, resulting in a precipitous decline in business, the culmination of ongoing challenges posed by years of poor policies and neglect."
So this wasn't anything that they did, but this was years and years and years of bad San Francisco policies that even though they're turning around, for some businesses, it's a little too little, a little too late.
Yeah, well, especially if you're at the mall. I don't know how you get anyone to find you via foot traffic if no one's there shopping at other stores.
And if you're on the 5th floor, that means you go up an escalator of, well, there's no businesses here. Well, there's no businesses here. Well, there's no businesses here. And then you get up to the place to get your day spa going? I don't think people are doing it.
Nope.
Burke Williams follows Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Nordstrom, neighbor Walgreens.
Everybody.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
And most recently, Saks Fifth Avenue, moving out of their Union Square locations. However, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie...
At what point do you call it that malls just aren't going to be a thing anymore in San Francisco?
Well, it's a double whammy. People are shopping on Amazon, and COVID really sped that up. And then that area just isn't safe.
However, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie has made promises to revitalize the historic neighborhood, floating the idea of turning vacant office and some retail space into apartments.
We hear that so often. It never actually gets done because apparently it's so complicated with permitting that it's not worth it to developers to do it.
Well, and if you turn everything, all of this industrial space, all of this shopping space into living space, people have to have jobs to go to.
Floating the idea of turning vacant office and some retail space into apartments, hosting more events, and bringing new businesses to the area. Recently announcing Nintendo and Zara are set to move in. Spokesperson from Union Square Alliance highlights this optimism, saying in a statement, quote, "While some companies might be choosing to relocate from the San Francisco Center on Market Street, Union Square proper continues to grow and expand.
Except for Burke Williams and all the others.
Bye-bye, Burke.
We are seeing real momentum in the retail space.
Kind of sad seeing the mall more empty, but walking around
doesn't help when the siren's in the background.
Nope. You notice a common theme of these stories? They all have sirens going on in the background. All right. No more Burke Williams in San Francisco.